Welcome back to the show. Today I'm joined by Kevin Salquist from Big 7 Ventures. Kevin has spent decades in financial services, investing, and private equity, and today works closely with industrial and manufacturing businesses through Big 7 Ventures, focusing on long-term value creation, operational growth, and sustainable business building. One of the things I found interesting about Kevin's approach is that it's not about chasing hype or flipping deals quickly. It's about identifying solid businesses, building relationships, improving operations, and creating long-term growth. Kevin, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be asked to be on your show, and I've been looking forward to this for some time. And thank you for having me.
Excellent. And Kevin, I'd like to start with your background because you've spent a long time in financial services and investing before launching into what you're doing now with Big 7 Ventures. How did your journey into investing and private equity really begin?
Well, I began my career as a market maker of all things on the Pacific Stock Exchange out here in San Francisco. And I spent the first 10 years of my career trading back when there were market makers and what have you. And from there, I migrated into prime brokerage. I was at the time working at Montgomery Securities, which transformed into Bank of America Securities. And being on the West Coast, my wife had her own business and they had asked us to move east, and that really wasn't going to be a very good fit for myself or family. And so we elected to stay. And it was just also at that same time that some people whom I had worked for in the past came to me with an idea on creating a private prime brokerage firm that would have proprietary information where you could actually draw multiple accounts onto one platform and see your portfolio. You could run delta or beta tests on your portfolio, and you could simulate an up or a down 2% day, how your portfolio might look, what have you. We had tabs on our website where your short interest on your balances of stocks that you were short, you could go in there and literally check them every day because they would fluctuate, what have you. But so it was we had this proprietary tool. We used our size to our advantage. So when you're small, you're nimble and you can respond quickly to customers' wants and demands, as opposed to if you're big, everything has to be licensed and compliance. Not to say that we were non-compliant, we were, but we used our ability to be flexible and nimble to create products for our clients in what they wanted to see on a day-to-day basis. So without having said that, I then rode that out and was in that space for about 20 years. And then toward the end there, my partner, Kurt Winter, who's the managing partner of Big 7 Ventures, came to me and said, "Hey, I got this idea. What do you think? You want to come along for the ride?" And so my thought process there was, you know what? I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to pivot in terms of my career. I wanted to create something of my own, and for better, for worse, be responsible for that. Certainly I viewed that as the better, being able to control my own destiny. And so he's like, "Here's my idea. We're going to go after niche industrial manufacturing companies. And, I want you to come aboard and join me and bring your knowledge and expertise as far as the financial markets to help me when we go out and find these companies, go raise money, find new LPs." And so that's really kind of one of my roles within Big 7 is to find and cultivate relationships with current LPs, family offices, RIAs, or have interest in alternative investment ideas. And then my other main responsibility is searching for new companies in that lower middle market area.
Okay. Kevin, you mentioned growing up around agriculture and industry in California. Do you think that shaped how you think about businesses today?
I do. I mean, I've seen enough small, medium-sized businesses that I feel I know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And certainly when you're dealing with family-owned businesses or sole proprietor businesses where it's a couple or what have you, I mean, certainly relationships mean everything. And just coming in, "Hey, I'm Joe Schmo, finance guy. I'm going to come in here and light the world on fire doesn't go very far with your small mid-market companies. You need to go in there. You need to establish a relationship with them, be brutally honest with everything that you think. If you don't know it, be honest about it. I don't know.
Mm.
And so I've always sort of, my dad dealt with farmers. I've always sort of taken that as sort of my benchmark and rule of thumb when dealing with people. Be absolutely painfully upfront and honest with them and tell them what you're thinking and how it is. And then, not be afraid to get in the trenches, so to speak, with them.
Absolutely. And Kevin, one thing that stands out about Big Seven Ventures is your focus on businesses that are often overlooked by large investment groups. What do you see in these smaller industry and manufacturing companies that other people miss?
Mainly, it's the opportunity. Oftentimes we go in or we find these companies that they've been running by the same person for, let's call it 40 or 50 years. And maybe the last 5, it's been a sort of a slow, steady decline. And what we found is that's not necessarily a reflection on the business as a whole, but more so a reflection on the owner. Maybe they're just in their mid to late 70s, early 80s, and they're tired. That entrepreneurial spirit that they once had when they were in their 30s or 40s, 50s has kind of gone. It's evaporated. Things are, for the most part, kind of on cruise control. They've established a lifestyle that that company has now been providing for them, and they're not looking to change anything. And so we were able to sort of dig underneath, peel back the onion, and recognize value where, hey, just with a little ingenuity, a little operational finesse, we think, we can increase margin efficiencies within the manufacturing process.
Excellent. And Kevin, what are the common growth problems you tend to see repeatedly in these businesses?
That's a great question. I would say, honestly, when you go in there and establish a relationship with the in-house core group, your operating partners, whether you have to bring in a new CEO or the general manager, but come in there, develop a relationship with everyone. I'm not saying you start changing things right off the bat. You need to come in there with a look, observe, and then take notes, and then get people's opinion as, hey, what do you think's working here? What's not? Where do you think you can improve? And really bring a sense of community to the employees where they feel that they have a voice and that voice is important. And they're, behind the push to go forward in this new venture. I mean, I would rather say the other thing, and that sort of leads into us coming in with a repeatable playbook where we're able to create value and show our new employees, if you want to call that, we have this system that we're going to implement slowly, and that system is going to create value for you all. And we're very happy to share in the value that creates with you in turn. So, hey, if we can take our margin up, our operating margin from call it maybe something in the mid 20s to the low 40s, and our profitability goes up as well, we'll come peel that back in compensation back to the employees as a reward. My partners are more than happy to share in the success of the company. Because let's face it, the people who are there working the day-to-day, working the assembly line, drilling the holes in the metal, what have you, pouring the foundry.
So, Kevin, this podcast is called Growth Without Referrals. And one of the themes we explore is how companies move beyond pure relationship-driven growth, okay? Because referrals are great, but growth becomes unpredictable. In your opinion, what separates companies that scale predictably from companies that...
I would honestly say that for starters, one, you need to go in there and when you buy the company at the right price, buy it at the right price, buy it where you're not over leveraged. You have plenty of cash. You've gone out, you've raised plenty of cash, and it's there if need be. Not saying we need, rush in there and make capital expenditures and go buy new equipment here and there. That's not going to do it. But, going back, you buy it for the right price. We then implement our playbook as how we're going to create the growth, get buy-in from everyone, At the same time, get in the trenches with all of them, show them, hey, I'm not afraid to get in here and get my hands dirty and, lead by example. In other words, get in there, show them you care, show them that you care about them and what have you. And so when we get in there, if we've bought the company at the right price, we'll be under leveraged. We'll have plenty of cash on the side to help them grow once we've identified those growth levers to move forward.
Okay. And do you think many industrial businesses underestimate branding, visibility, and lead generation because historically relationships carried them?
Correct. Absolutely. In our experience of the 4 deals we've done, it was buddy business. For lack of a better word. And so, we go in there and we sort of take a multi-prong approach where, hey, we're going to get in there. All the companies we've had, we're going to create a website. It doesn't have to be anything dazzling, but let's just have a website where someone can go in there, look us up. Hey, drop us a line or click on a tab. I'd like a quote. We'll go in there. Then maybe we join a organizational group. Here in California, maybe it's the California or the California Metals Coalition, things like that in there, where we're out there within the industry, creating those relationships with people. Hey, where are you getting your steel from? So and so and so and so. Hey, maybe someone XYZ up in Seattle is looking for a little partner on a JV deal. All those little things, but we're going out, we're going to bring it up to today's standards in terms of social media, website, joining groups, and then also just putting ourselves out there. So many times, these relationships with these companies and their customers, kind of like they haven't gotten face to face with them in years. And so we're going in there and we're big face to face people. Hey, can we come down? Let's go out to lunch, take you out to dinner. And we're the new kids on the block. We're not going to change we're not looking to rearrange the apple cart, but we're going to, face to face, get to know the person and build a relationship what it once was 30 years ago. Everyone now,
Excellent.
and I say this, and I use my own kids they're somewhat rare because they like to get face to face with people and interact. And so many people I found of the lower generation just want to communicate via text or an email. This would be, oh my God, I got to turn on the camera. I don't know, they fear it, where I would embrace it and like, hey, let's go shake hands and build these relationships back to where they were.
And doing that, you also build trust.
Absolutely. You build trust. And we want and convey to them, hey, we are here for you. And if you come to us with a rush order, we're going to take care of you. We're not going to sit there and take the opportunity to, crank it up 20% because of the rush order. We will increase it a little bit, but we're not going to take advantage of the situation. And we're here for the long run. We're going to play the long game here as far as relationships go. And we play the long game when we acquire these companies because we feel that we're able to make better decisions. We're not looking to sell a company in 5 or 7 years. If someone came knocking on our door, sure, we would listen. We have a proprietary obligation to do that to our limited partners. But for the most part, we're acquiring businesses that we want to run, operate, and grow.
I like it, the long game. And Kevin, let's unpack that a little. Something I appreciate about your approach is long-term orientation. A lot of business today feel pressured to chase immediate results. How do you personally think about balancing short-term revenue pressure versus long-term value creation?
It's tough. I won't deny that. We go about it. We tell our limited partners, here's our game plan. Here is our vision. Our number one goal when the company is stable, we're going to get you back your initial investment in this company back as soon as you possibly can. One of our companies, we just finished off paying back the investors their money, and we did it within 22 months of when we acquired the company. So now it's all gravy. Certainly you build a lot of trust and favoritism when you're able to pay back that initial investment. It doesn't always work that way. We get it. we're going to make decisions on the short term that are going to benefit the company. It may not necessarily benefit the limited partner, but we tell them that up front. We're doing this in the short run because it's going to benefit the company, which in the long run is going to benefit you. It's just you're not going to see the financial windfall from this short-term result because we're going to make sure that that money is going to go back into the company and fuel. Maybe that's when we'll use that money for some capital expenditures. Maybe we buy a new machine. Maybe we bring in some more employees. Maybe we come in with new computer systems where we can analyze and study efficiency from the starting point to the end point to see where we can't improve on the manufacturing of the product.
Right. And Kevin, you're not just looking at spreadsheets. You're working with leadership teams and operational systems too. So when businesses hit growth ceilings, where do you usually see the real bottleneck? Is it leadership, hiring, systems, sales and marketing, or operational discipline?
I would go with operational discipline is one.
Okay.
And I would say the other one was your first point that you made. It's changing the mindset. These people have been operating in this environment, the same environment for so long. And now we're like, okay, we're going forward. We're opening up the doors here and we're going to go through some new doors. Let's not be afraid of that, but we're going to go in eyes wide open. We'll do our homework before we enter in, but we're going to go through some new doors here and we're going to make it work. I mean, it might, I would say oftentimes, we always prefer to hire from within or promote from within, I should say. So if let's say a company doesn't have the day-to-day person and it's more, great. We bring in one of our operators from our bench and it's fantastic because they're on a go-go entrepreneurial spirit to start with. But when we hire from within, and that person's been sort of in that rut, then it just takes a little encouragement and support. Hey, you got this. Don't be afraid to take a little risk here. We're not going to risk the business, but we need to take a little, no gain ever doesn't come without risk. But, pushing them and supporting them and saying, hey, look, we're going to go do this. Your job, if it fails, we're all in this together. You're not going to lose your job because we're the ones pushing you down into this new area. But, let them know we're with you 100% of the way. But so going to your point, sometimes the establishment, you got to give them a little nudge.
I like it. And looking ahead over the next few years, what trends are you paying attention to right now in manufacturing, industrial businesses, and private equity?
Construction certainly is one of the main areas that we focus. So one of our acquisitions is a fastener company. And so within the fastener company, we're looking at new areas of growth for them. So that could be data centers. That could be new healthcare facilities where you have these anchor corrosion resistant bolts, things of that nature, but going in, identifying new markets. Clearly data centers, energy are the two biggest growth areas, at least that we've identified for opportunity. And, we're going to go in there and explore that and look to make product that will support those areas. Maybe it's an absorption, these threaded rods where you put these huge server trays on, things of that nature. Go down all these sort of avenues for these different products in the data centers and energy sectors and look to fulfill their needs.
Okay. How do you think technology and AI will affect more traditional industrial businesses?
I think it will definitely, you can use it to improve efficiencies where you can, as I mentioned before, go in there and you do a product analysis on, hey, where in this line of manufacturing can we improve on production? I think AI can definitely steer you in that direction or show you where you're losing productivity or where it could definitely be better. I definitely think AI is going to bring a level of sophistication, whether that's, maybe it's bidding on a project to an extent, writing out new bids, and it can do it in a sense that you create a better, but everyone's going to be on that same plane. But I do think, there is a place definitely for AI in manufacturing. I think it's going to be in operational efficiencies where it's going to be most impactful.
Okay. Kevin, this has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate the practical and grounded perspective you brought to this discussion. For leaders listening who are trying to build sustainable growth in their own companies, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
I would tell them, don't be afraid to get in there. Get your hands dirty and just shoulder up with your employees and help them get the job done. Be honest with them and say, hey, I don't know, but I'll get you an answer. I mean, never sort of bullshit your way through an answer to some guy who's been on the assembly line for 25 years. No way.
Wow.
But go get your hands dirty, stand next to that guy, ask him a ton of questions, get those answers, come back to him. As I mentioned earlier in the podcast, get their input. Hey, what do you think here? Because oftentimes we found the employees have great insight as to, hey, let's go down this avenue. I mean, we've had situations, we'll tell our drivers, hey, if you're out there delivering a load of survey stakes or threaded rods, and all of a sudden someone comes up and starts talking to you, hey, if you can get us a new customer, we'll give you, there's a $1,500 bonus in it right there. Go knock yourself out. It doesn't, maybe to some people, $1,500 isn't a whole heck of a lot of money, but maybe to some person who's driving a truck, a little $1,500 kickback. Hey, thanks. Great job. You spoke highly of the company and we got ourselves a new client. Awesome.
Excellent. And Kevin, thanks again for joining us today. For people who want to learn more about Big 7 Ventures or connect with you directly, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Hit me on my email, which is simple. It's big7ventures.com. And I'll be more than happy to schedule a meeting and jump on a Zoom or a phone call or meet you for a coffee, whatever you want to do.
Excellent. And for our listeners, I will be putting Kevin's contact information in the description of this podcast. But Kevin, thanks again for being here.
Mark, thank you very much for hosting me. It's been a great pleasure. And I wish you all the success in the world in your future podcast episodes.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.